And here we go. Spawning in the top left-hand corner of Babylon, we have the American Protoss player representing Root Gaming. It is Creature. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner of Babylon, we have his opponent. We have the best Zerg player in all of America representing Apprentice Esports. It is Ukko. Oh. Vámonos, papi, vámonos. I see the chat catching up. He's an animal, papi. He is. Ay. But here we go. We are kicking things off here with the unnatural natural from Ukko. Creature does a great job at just dipping on in and just, hindering the opener here from Ukko. But Zergs, we're used to this. Hashtag Zerg life. We can't expand. We can't expand normally in ZvP. Smurge. Smurge, papi, smurge. As we are getting into this fresh series here, we have been casting a lot of Creature recently. For those of you who haven't been tuning in, we've been casting NA Apprentice. If you enjoy North American StarCraft, consider tuning into some of our North American Apprentice broadcasts. It's basically GSL, but for the land of Canada and North America. Canada and America. North America, basically. It does exclude the Latin American countries. And Creature has been looking pretty damn good in NA Apprentice. We even saw him in the qualifiers, but if I recall correctly, Creature did end up being eliminated in a pretty tough group. Hold on, let me just confirm here. 1 second as I open up the Wikipedia page. Yeah, we did recently cast Creature in his group against Future and Vindicta, and Creature looked good against Eon. But the thing is, Eon is a very different kind of player. Eon is the cheesiest Zerg player in Latin America, maybe just the Americas. Oh no, not the Americas. That's Reaper. But Eon is the cheesiest Zerg player in Latin America, and Creature had really great defensive play. Like, his defensive play in PvZ was impeccable. But we didn't really get to see a lot of his macro play, and that is what we are here for. I want to see how he does in the mid game, in the late game, against a player like Ukko. Here we go. So far, very standard opener from Creature. We do have a Stargate opener here. We should be seeing some Oracles. I imagine we're going to be going up to triple Oracle into a fast third Nexus, but we shall see what Creature has in store for us. Again, Creature isn't really a cheesy player. In what we have seen from him, he's pretty standard. He likes what he likes. He doesn't like to diverge too much, but he's also good at what he likes. He's very quite solid in the mid game, in the late game if he can get there. But I feel like that's also Ukko's mantra as well, as he has been able to recently solidify himself as the best Zerg player in the Americas. Before that, it was Silky. Silky was kind of up there. But alas, that mantle has been overtaken since Silky did kind of, retire. Feels bad, man. Feels bad, but Silky is no longer with us. Smurge, papi, smurge. And of course, Scarlet is the best Zerg player in North America, but specifically United States. Ukko holds that flag. Ukko has that mantle. But until then, we just see a couple of links coming across the map. Ooh, it looks like he won't get a kill on that probe. Delays the third Nexus for a little bit, but Creature is able to hold on. Does keep his first Oracle back at home defensively. Ukko, I'm sure, was hoping that the first Oracle would zoom across the map, but very conservative, very safe play out of Creature. Just leaves that first Oracle back at home. We do have a second Oracle on the way as well. With this, we can just secure our third, and there is that third Oracle as well. So with this kind of opener, Creature can zoom across the map. He can one-shot workers with his harassment, and he should be able to hold on to his third base as well. Oh my god! Oh, he's pulled out of position, and Ukko is going to get us around on these adepts, but can he kill any? Oh, it looks like he will get one for his troubles, but only one. Nice moves, though. Very nice moves. Ukko just forcing a reaction out of Creature and taking advantage of that. Meanwhile, the two Oracles are zooming across the map, but oh, they run into the Queens, already losing a couple of shields. Looks like they're going to catch some transferring workers here, and oh, the Spore, there is a little bit of a weak point in that mineral line, so 2 drones, not too bad. At least the Oracles are safe and sound, and they do also scout that Roach Warren behind the mineral line in the main, which more than anything is just a safety Roach Warren. It is kind of what we expect to be seeing here in ZvP. Gases are being taken, another Oracle dips in towards the third, gets another drone kill, but only one. Oh my god. 1 HP. The Oracle somehow survives on 1 HP, gets one more drone and gets out of there. We may be forced to recall. I mean, we can regenerate those shields so we can get out a little bit safer. Back across the map, we do have that transition into a Twilight Council and a Forge. This will not be a Blink Stalker follow-up though. He's going to be going +1 and charge, and this does typically lead into Charge Lot Archon. Speaking of Archons, oh, he had a Temple Archives on the way, but as the Overseer comes in, he cancels it. And he rebuilds it. Interesting moves here. So the reason for this, it does obviously delay his Archon production, but he wants to sell a story. He wants Ukko to believe it's going to be Blink Stalkers. The revelation of a Templar Archives confirms the Charger Archon, which is a very different composition, and it requires a very different response as well. So we do see Creature delaying his build, but the goal here is to try and sell a story, sell a false narrative here to Ukko. Meanwhile, so far, Ukko is just going to be getting into a pretty standard composition here in ZvP. It is going to be Ling Bane Roach Ravager, +1 melees on the way. We have the Infestation Pit as well to get into a Hive, to get into Adrenal Glands. Nothing too fancy. Everything is looking pretty standard from Ukko as he takes his 4th base, saturates his 3rd. Creature, though, takes a pretty fast 4th of his own, and he has been able to keep up with the economy of Ukko. This is another big thing about Creature. He is a pretty, again, defensive player in ZvP, and he is looking to just get into at least the mid game in a good position. So run by does a little bit of damage, almost gets a queen, but the roaches were in the vicinity. They were in the area. We're able to clean up all those zealots. Meanwhile, Archons are now on the way. I mean, we did just show off those charge lots, so with that, I feel like Ukko has enough information to realize what has been going on, and that we did skip Blink. And now Ukko is rushing across the map with his army, and unfortunately, Creature doesn't really have a lot here. Again, this 4th base was pretty fast. And what does he have to defend? No shield battery. He has a lot of Archons, which are good, but he doesn't have much to support this. We do have 1 shield battery there in that mineral line. We have an overcharge. Ukko is going to respect that. And this is scary. We have equal bases between the players. Creature slightly behind in the worker count, but in saying that, Creature is ahead economically. He is ahead right now, and Ukko has to try and catch up. He's going for his 5th. He's going for his Hive. He has been focusing a lot on his tech. Again, just working on taking control of the map overall. You have an Archon drop here towards the right-hand side. Gets a queen, gets an Overlord here and there. Not too bad. Oh, gets a 2nd queen as well. Nice value here for only shield damage. So great trades from Creature overall. Meanwhile, back at home again, very defensive. He's not going to be hitting any kind of timing anytime soon. He's just working on his Immortals, working on his Archons. +2 and +1 armor, they're on the horizon. And I do appreciate what Ukko's doing. You know, he recognizes that his opponent is being very defensive. I mean, look at all this stack defense being thrown down as well. Ukko's going to try and tech up as best he can. We have the Hive. We're going into Lurkers. Lurkers and Vipers really are a great way at shutting down ground toss. It usually... Oh my god! Oh my god! As we did have a reaction there from Creature, does save the majority of those probes. My god, they are so low. Jesus. Unfortunately, +2 melee was not done in time for that. Otherwise, all those probes would be dead. What was I saying? Oh yeah, Hydra Lurker Viper. It just shuts down ground toss, and it usually forces a reaction. It forces a sky toss transition out of the Protoss. But Creature hasn't been able to catch wind of this yet. He does have a Prism sneaking into the main base, but we have vision of it. Ukko does fend it off. And this is dangerous here for Creature. If he doesn't realize what's going on with Ukko's army composition, then he's going to be stuck with Immortal Archon against Mass Lurker, and that's not really where we want to be. But before that happens, oh, the Lurkers, they move on forward. We have detection available. Every single Lurker is going to be going down. Ukko pushing in a little bit prematurely before his Hive upgrades, before his Lurker upgrades, and he will lose 3 of them. And here we go. Creature is going for a massive counterattack. Oh my god, the 4th Lurker goes down. Ukko is being caught in the middle of transitioning, and now he's stuck with Roach Hydra, and Roach Hydra is not what we want to be working with. It's just not an ideal army composition. Creature has too much, and he can just power on through. GG gets called in one swift move. Creature takes game 1. Oof. Yeah, Ukko with a bit of a shaky attack. He just triggers a reaction, a cascading domino effect. Creature just immediately counterattacks. That's the end of game 1. That is the end of game 1. Ukko, he knew what he wanted. He was working towards those Lurkers. Lurker range was around halfway done. But alas, he couldn't quite get there in time. Or he did, you know, kind of an attack before that became available to him. And yeah, I wonder how Ukko is going to adapt here. I don't know how much experience Ukko has playing against Creature, but what we saw from Creature that game is what I kind of expected here. Basically, a player who is just hyper defensive, just works on this death ball and moves out with Charged Out Archon Immortal. And it felt as if Ukko was investing quite a bit into his army. He was expecting an earlier timing, which is fair, definitely fair. It's what we expect to be seeing from these Twilight Council Forge transitions. But Creature isn't that kind of player. So we'll see how Ukko is able to adapt on the fly mid-series here, if he's able to. And we'll see if Creature diverges from his plan and ever goes for a Twilight Council opener or something a little bit different. We'll see, we'll see. As we're getting into game number 2, sorry. And spawning in the top right-hand corner. Also, I should update the in-game score. There we go. Out-of-game score, sorry. We do have our American Zerg player representing Apprentice Esports. It is Ukko. Oh, and spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Ancient Cistern, we have the American Protoss player representing Root Gaming. It is Creature. Creature has been around for a very long time. It's great to see him here once again. Okay. I was curious if the drone was going to go across the map, but okay, it's just headed towards the 3rd. We're all good, Papi. We're all good. But Creature has been around for a very long time. But recently he has been investing a little bit more time in StarCraft, and it's been great to see him return to the game and actually look pretty damn good. He does have his own style of play, definitely, as we saw last game. It's what we saw from him in the qualifiers of NA Apprentice as well, around a week or so ago. So Creature is quite a solid player here, and yeah, I wonder how deep his bag of tricks are, if any, right? Is he ever going to be a little bit more aggressive? Or we're going to be seeing some glaive openers. We're on Ancient Cistern. This is not a bad map for Skytoss if we wanted to try and rush into that direction, to try and be a little bit more defensive or try and take advantage of some of the additional bases that we have on this map. We'll see what Creature has to offer. As he's just, yeah, you know, just going to be opening up in a pretty standard fashion. We do see a gate expand here from Creature. Likewise, Ukko forced to take the unnatural natural. Just going to be forced to take an awkward base, but eventually we'll take a 3rd. He'll be able to connect his bases, drone up from here. Nothing too crazy. The kind of big divergent point is going to be whether or not we do see that Stargate once the Cybercore finishes. And honestly, we should. Show us the Stargate, puppy. Show us the Stargate. We need a little bit more gas. As we're actually prioritizing Warp Gate. Oh, let's go. Okay, and this is the first sign here. Warp Gate is on the way. It's not going to be delayed here. Ukko does see this, so he should be able to piece together that this is likely to be a Twilight Council opener. It's not confirmation, but it is likely. As the Twilight Council is thrown down in the main, Creature is going to be mixing things up, as he does have that lead in the series. He pulls out of gas. And he pulls back in. Interesting. So, I don't think this is going to be Glaives. We'll see. We'll see if this is going to be Glaives or a Dark Shrine. I'm feeling a Dark Shrine. We only have one gateway here. DT openers can be devastating. And this Overlord is being forced into a pretty awkward location. We aren't going to be seeing a scout from Ukko. Show us the Dark Shrine. There it is. Dark Shrine has been thrown down here. Again, because of how quickly we got this Robo, does typically lead towards DTs. Also, we did not pull out of gas. And if we did pull out of gas, it would be Glaives. So, yeah, a little bit more old school, but this is a very relevant opener here in this matchup. If it gets scattered, though, it is really difficult to pull off, and it is really difficult to deal damage. But for the time being, the Overlord hasn't made its way into the main. Now, Ukko at this point should recognize that it's a Twilight Council opener. It could be Glaives, could be Charge the All-In, it could be DTs. He does see, or he did see the lack of fourth gas being taken. So you can start to cross a couple of things off, and there we go. We do have some safety spores on the way. At least one here at the natural, and there we go. We're also getting one in the main, I believe. Sorry, one at the natural, one at the third. So we are taking our precautions here against DTs. Before that happens, Adepts are about to reveal themselves. So with this Creature, he's making it look as if it is going to be a Glaive Adept opener. Lings are being forced out to respond. Drones are on the way, but here come the initial 3 DTs. This is spotted by Ukko. He's fully aware of what's going on, and there we go. A lair starts immediately. He knows he needs that mobile detection. His Queen's going to dive on top of that Prism. Oh, the DTs are getting surrounded here. One goes down immediately, and yeah, these DTs aren't doing too much damage at all. Oof. We did have a little bit of lost mine time at least, but yeah, Ukko was just too good for this. He was too ready, just, you know, crossing his T's, dotting his I's. Wasn't 100% certain what was coming his way, but he knew the possibility of DTs, and yeah, he had his spores ready for this. Not just that, but unfortunately, Creature lost 2 of his DTs, so it's really difficult for him to transition into an Archon drop from here. Yeah, forced to recall that Prism as well. Not a good start for Creature. We do have Charge as a follow-up. We do have a later third base as well. But Ukko is free to drone. He's free to do whatever he wants from this point. And, yeah, we'll see if Creature can recover. He does have these 2 Archons, and he can, of course, pick off some Overlords. He can get some drone damage. There's a lot of potential in an Archon drop. Unfortunately, it is a delayed drop, and Ukko should know that it's coming. He's fully aware that is quite common as a follow-up after a DT opener. So Roaches are on the way. Queens are spread out between the bases, waiting to see what angle the Prism comes in at. And there we go. Prism has been revealed. Army is getting in position. The Queens are rotating over as well. Such a quick response from Ukko. Very nicely done. Very nicely done. And yeah, again, from here, Creature is just going to turtle. He's just going to be turtling up back at home. He's going to try and harass a little bit with these Archons because he needs to be honest. But he doesn't get the Queen. We do have the transfuse in time. Creature going to be focusing on defending back at home, on just turtling on up. We have Immortals on the way. Charge lots. Archons. But honestly, from here, Ukko can kind of do what he wants, and I love this. We do have a faster Hydra Den this time, and this is going to mean that Ukko, if he wishes to, he can get into a faster Lurker Den. Hive is on the way as well. Unlike the last game, Ukko isn't over-investing in his Roach army. He's only getting enough to defend against these Archons. I think he recognizes that his opponent is just going to be staying back at home, and Ukko this time is doing a better job at taking advantage of this by not just droning and not just taking bases, but also by teching. I feel like this tech is the most important thing here. As there we go, there's that lurker den on the way. Like, Ukko is going to have a much faster transition into lurkers, and that is what he was really lacking in game 1. Great spread, getting towards the halfway point, +2 range on the way. Hydra's coming out as well. These Archons trying to do what they can, but they haven't even really gotten too much scouting information either. We haven't seen any tech. We did see the Hive at least, but I mean, that's not a big tell. There we go. First Hydra has been revealed. As soon as the Hydra was shown, we have a Storm on the way. That is going to be creature's splash damage of choice. And Storm isn't a bad choice, to be fair, but there we go. We have a second Robo. We need some disruptors. We need to diversify our splash damage a little bit. I mean, this could just be for double Immortal production, to be fair. I mean, Immortals can do surprisingly well against Lurkers. They can. Just because of how beefy they are. But yeah, both players are just backing off. Creature has to, just because of how poorly the opener went. And Ukko, he's just waiting here to get into his upgrades. There we go. Sizing Spines are on the way. Lurkers are being produced. This is Ukko very clearly adapting to Creature's style and how passive he is. Finally, Creature's kind of going to be moving up, but again, he's not really committing to anything. Just forcing the Roaches back. And we have more Lurkers on the way. Oh. Now we do have Storm, though, and here we go. Creature is moving out with his Immortals, his Storm as well. It's not a bad army, don't get us wrong, but as soon as he runs into this wall of Lurkers, I just don't think he can really do too much. As we have 10 Lurkers available for Ukko. As long as they're in position, Ukko can fend this off. But we'll see. That's going to be a big if. As the Lurkers are revealed, Creature is going to be rotating around. He's looking for another angle. We do have a bit of a Roach run by. Again, we want to get rid of all these Roaches at some point. Creature trying to push in towards the right-hand side. But at every turn, the Lurkers are waiting for it. Ugh. Yeah, we don't want to push into this, and this is what I was talking about last game. Typically, if we get into this situation, Ground Toss doesn't want to mess with Lurkers, not at this high of a number, and Creature knows that, so he's transitioning. We have +1 air attack on the way, and 2 Stargates. We should be seeing a Fleet Beacon soon as well. We have a Sky Toss transition on the way, but before we get any Sky Toss, Ukko has a very powerful Zerg army. And this transition to Sky Toss may just be too late. The Leagues, they find the High Templar! Oh my god, they get almost every single High Templar. Only 2 survive, and that may just be it. Oh, a couple of these Lurkers are looking quite exposed, though. We don't want to overextend. Ukko has to respect this. He will lose a couple of Lurkers retreating, but that was still worth it in the end. Getting, what was that, 4 High Templar. At the same time, we have a bit of a Roach run by. Overcharge has been popped. So we're going to be throwing away every single one of these Roaches. Spire is on the way, as well as Vipers. Ukko getting ready himself to meet up with that Sky Toss. And I don't think Ukko can really move out without Vipers, to be honest. Like, these Lurkers are great defensively. We're just buying time here, keeping up with the ground army. Vipers are on the way. Once the Vipers come out, we can go for these Ducks. We can pick off Immortal after Immortal, Archon after Archon. Just pick apart this army. Meanwhile, a couple of Lurkers go across the map to harass. They're forcing a reaction out of Creature. We see him double expand at the same time. Do we have detection? Oh, we don't have detection. Papi, por favor. The Lurkers, they slip into the mineral line. Ugh. And there's no way to really deal with this. The carriers are on the way, observers as well. And as this is happening, we have another run by in towards the natural base. Creature is being pulled apart. He cleans up the lurkers towards the north, but towards the south, his production is under threat. The Cybercore is under threat. He does finish +1 range, but losing the Cybercore is actually pretty big. Oh, at the same time, the main army is threatening that the fourth base. And Creature, he can't respond. He cannot rotate around. He's losing so much. Oh, we do have a warping of DTs, but the natural goes down. A lot of DTs. The natural does fall. Another lurker is harassing here at the new fourth base. And how many lurkers are we even producing here? Creature, he has a bank, but he is maxed. Creature needs to get rid of some of this army. He just can't produce any carriers because he just doesn't have the supply for it. Doesn't have the free supply. And this is maybe a good thing. Oh my god, no! Oh god! The move command! Oh, Creature, he drops 80 supply in the blink of an eye. I was like, this is good. You know, he needs to free up some supply for carriers, but not like this, Papi. Not everything. Creature, taking it to the extreme. I know we need carriers, Papi, but we still need an army. And that may just be it. That may just be the game-winning move for Ukko. The game-losing mistake from Creature. The one carrier is going to go down. We have detection for the DTs. Vipers are here to support. GG gets called and Ukko takes game number 2. Oh. I am a Zerg player, but seeing the army just move command in without detection was not pretty. It was not pretty, Papi. GG. GG, well played. Oh, and Eric and Ryu started. They started, Papi. I'd love to cast them. It's okay. It's okay. All good. Smurge. Maybe it's best that I'm not a part of Eric versus Ryu. I don't like seeing my kids fight. I don't like it. I don't like it. But regardless, GG well played to Ukko. He does type the series 1-1, reacting quite well and responding quite well to Creature's tendencies, taking up very quickly into those lurkers, and Creature had a very late response to that, a very late reaction to get into his own carrier tech, getting into High Templar, getting into Sky Toss. And we have a series on our hands. We do have a series. Again, as an update, I have confirmation that Eric did take down Smile, and Eric is currently facing off against Ryu in a qualifying match. Duckling versus Duckling. It's heartbreaking. But at least it confirms that one CranKy Duckling, at least one, will be in the closed qualifiers for ESL Masters Americas. But of course, we're looking at another player looking to potentially qualify for the closed qualifiers. In the bottom left-hand corner, we have the American Zerg player representing Apprentice Esports. It is Ukko. This morning, in the top right-hand corner, we have the American Protoss representing Root Gaming. It is Creature. I see the chat catching up. Want to see a magic trick? Oh, I'm gonna make your army disappear. Smurge, Papi, Smurge. Not like this, not like this. As we're now going to be getting into the swing of things here. Getting into game number 3. On Altitude, I'm a little bit surprised that both Ancient Cistern and Altitude made it through the veto process. Two maps that are kind of considered Zerg favored just because of their size, just because of the attack paths and the attack angles. Surrounds are a lot easier on maps like this. So, yeah, I imagine maybe some of the smaller maps were vetoed. I imagine Neo Humanity at least. But an interesting veto process overall. Very interesting. And I wonder how Creature is going to react here on Altitude. More than any other map, this is the map that we have seen Sky Toss kind of succeed most in, just because of how large it is and how how long it takes for the Zerg player to go for these counterattacks. And we saw that Creature is willing to play Sky Toss. There are some players out there that don't really enjoy that kind of play style, that don't really enjoy that composition. But because Creature has shown us that it is kind of within his skill range to do so, he may be looking to rush into that. We'll see, we'll see. It is an option for him here on Altitude. Here we go. Creature sounds like a Korean player's name. Creature sounds like creator. We were casting Creature earlier this week, and I kept saying creator by accident. I kept saying creator, and I was like, God damn it, every time, shaking my head. I have to stop myself. So far, I haven't done it yet today. So far. We do have that Stargate opener here from Creature once again. Again, typically Twilight Council openers are not quite common in this matchup. They're not quite, not really too useful here, just because how long it takes to be aggressive with Glaive Adepts and the like. So an Oracle opener does make the most sense. Meanwhile, we do have one Adept slipping into the main base. Gonna try and pick up a couple of units here, and it looks like, oh, he will not get a drone. Very nice reaction from Ukko. Gonna be morphing in that Spore. And yeah, we'll see how Creature transitions from this point. If once again he's going to be hyper defensive and turtle up after the initial triple Oracle opener, or if he's maybe going to try and get into Skytoss a little bit faster. For the time being, Ukko is just getting his third base up and running, going to be droning from this point, just focusing on fending off these initial Adepts. The Adepts are racing back home to defend that third, but the Lings are catching up. They do get us around. The Oracle is going to come into support, and the Adepts will be saved. Very nice moves from Creature. We have seen time and time again that Creature, his first Oracle, he will keep at home at this third, just to make sure it gets up and running. And Ukko's going to try and abuse this location, but again, Creature's defense is just too good, and the Lings are forced back. So overall, some pretty efficient and effective trades from Creature in the early game. Just, out-trading Lings, not the biggest of deals, but, nice nonetheless. As he's able to get his third base up and running without too many issues. Without too much trouble. That's what I was coding for. Meanwhile, first two Oracles are zooming across the map to pick off whatever drones they can. They do have that one-shot potential. The third Oracle is soon about to show up at the third base to make sure it's safe and sound. The Adepts do also shade in towards the third, and oh, we force a reaction here. We force the boys to be pulled, and they're caught by the Oracles. Nice moves from Creature. The Queens just weren't able to keep up. Unfortunately, there was no creep covering the ramp here, so they had a hard time rotating between the bases. An unfortunate shade from Creature. He will be losing these Adepts, but for 5 drones, well worth it. The Oracles dip in once again, getting one more drone. Very nicely done here by Creature. And yes, just like game number 1, it's kind of what we expect. We do see, once again, Charge and a +1 on the way. This will be for Charge on Archon. We do have a faster second Forge, though. Much faster than we saw in that first game. So, yeah, going to be investing a little bit more into his upgrades. This will be delaying some of his other tech. It is going to be delaying his Archons as well. But I do think that this is a wise choice on Altitude. Because it's so large, we can be a little bit more greedy. Meanwhile, the triple Oracle, they pick off one Queen. Can they pick off another? No, they cannot. But nice moves from Creature. He's able to keep that Oracle alive just barely with 7 HP. Does pull it back in the end. And yeah, there we go. There is that Templar Archive. So pretty reminiscent army composition coming out from Creature. Again, we expect him to be pretty defensive overall, slowly take a 4th base from this point as well, and be very quote-unquote economic for a Protoss, which is usually in the hands of the Zerg, as the 4th bases are kind of being taken at around the same time. Ukko does have eyes on this. He does see the probe in this area, so he's fully aware that Creature intends to take a 4th, and he will confirm it. And we'll see if Ukko is going to try and respond with a timing attack to try and punish this 4th, or if he meets greed with greed and takes a faster 5th base and once again takes up into Hive. We shall see. Meanwhile, oh my god, these 3 oracles, once again, they find another queen. But this time, we will lose 1 oracle for it, so a bit of a trade between our 2 players. We have droned up to 72, but we're making a lot of roaches right now. It looks like Ukko does want to try and punish this 4th base, otherwise we wouldn't be making so many roaches, otherwise we would be having a faster infestation pit. Ukko, he is going to be hitting a timing with +1. And I do believe that he can break the 4th, but can he do more than that? Can he break the 3rd? Oh boys, the roach count is getting higher and higher. Creature at the same time isn't going to take this line down. He's going to be going for some Archon harass here on the left-hand side. He's going to be looking to distract Ukko, maybe force Ukko to show his hand, but I love this. He's going to be keeping the majority of his roaches hidden. Only going to be responding with a handful of them. Robotics Bay is on the way, so we can get into Disruptor production, but it's only just now finishing, and again, Ukko is going to be maxing out soon. We can see the disparity in the army supplies right now. Again, Creature being very greedy overall with his playstyle here. Oh, and that's a lot of Ravagers. That's a lot of Banelings on the way. These Archons haven't been able to confirm this. He hasn't seen too much at all. He does see the lack of 5th, I guess. And Zelt Rumbai is finally going to confirm the army, and here we go. Ukko has to pull the trigger. His army has been revealed. Everything has to be sent across the map. And Creature, can he defend in time? We have a couple of Archons on the way. We have cannons. We have shield batteries. His army is going to be rotating over. But look at the size of Creature's army. It's almost non-existent. Ukko has double the army supply right now. But we do have an overcharge. And we do have an Immortal coming in as well. Banelings are coming in from behind. Up. Ooh, and we are going to find those connections in the end. The roaches are pushing on forward as well. The probes are all going to be going down to the Banelings. And Creature is caught with his pants down. Ukko going for a very strong timing off of 71 drones. Ukko just being a little bit too greedy, and once again, Creature just being a little bit too greedy, and Ukko just finding a way to punish that here. The 4th is broken. Only a single Immortal and an Archon live to tell the tale, and they're not going to be living for much longer here as Ukko just keeps on pushing. Creature just wasn't able to scout this in time. He did have a prison that was active on the map, but he was never able to confirm the drone count, the base count, or the army. And just like that, Ukko is looking to take a lead in this series. GG gets called, and Ukko takes game number 3. Oh. Let's go, Poppy. Let's go. And this is why, like, I was putting so much emphasis after the first game. Even though Creature looked very dominant in game 1, I was like, okay, now Ukko knows how he's playing. How's he going to respond? Game 1, we saw Ukko be really greedy tech-wise and have just a superior army. Game 2, Ukko stops Creature before he can get things going, before he can really work on his army and get into the mid game. There was a window here where Creature was very vulnerable. Ukko, he saw that 4th base, he saw how vulnerable he was, and Ukko just went for it. Ooh, GG. And now Ukko is 1 game away from taking the entire series here. Creature, mate, we're gonna have to switch something. We're gonna have to change things up here if we want to bring down Ukko. We can't keep going for the same overall kind of end game, the same play style. Oh. We'll see. We'll see if Creature is able to adapt. Is this live ESL? Why aren't they running it on their channel? This is the Qualifiers. This is the Qualifiers. ESL, they only host the main events on their channel. The regional events, and of course, the regional finals as well. The Qualifiers are open to community casters, and that is where myself comes in. I'm casting alongside Cosmos, Horus, Renegade X Studios, and many other community casters out there. You know, they're covering some of the other series. And here we go. We're now getting into game number 4, and spawning in the bottom right-hand corner of Gresman, we have the American Zerg player representing Apprentice Esports. Currently up in this series, 1 game away from taking it all and qualifying for the closed qualifier. It is Ukko. And spawning in the top left-hand corner of Gresvan, we have his opponent. We have the American Protoss representing Root Gaming down in this series up against the wall. He cannot lose a game here, otherwise he is done. He is out of the qualifier. It is Creature. Oh boy, here we go. In Gresvan, we're now kind of reverting to a bit of a smaller map. You know, we're done with Ancient Cistern, we're done with Altitude, these kind of large maps with open spaces. Gresvan is a little bit different here. You know, we do have quite a different base layout as well, where there are some vulnerable locations that can be taken advantage of. Some decent defensive lines, especially when it comes to maybe the northern 4th base, but a lot of contention is here in this center base. If you can expand here and take this base, then you do unlock essentially 2 free bases. So it's going to be quite crucial for Creature if the game does go on that long. But at the same time, it's also quite difficult to defend. You can attack from the low ground, you can attack from the right-hand side as well, you can come in from behind. It does typically lead to really dynamic games. It's really exciting. I mean, we casted Ukko versus Terran earlier, and Gresvan was a banger of a series, a banger of a map. But we'll see. We'll see what Creature decides to go for here on Gresvan. I wouldn't be opposed to a Twilight Council opener, to be fair. We can switch things up. Again, I was talking about how we kind of want to stray away from that on a large map like Altitude, but now that we're on a bit of a smaller map, it does open things up for how effective a Twilight Council opener can be. We'll see. We shall see. As once again, we have the unnatural natural being forced out. Yo, shout out to Reaper showing up in the chat as well. Zerg power, let's go. Ay. Vámonos, papi, vámonos. Oh, as we actually have a 2-gate opener. Wow, I was not out of all the openers, this is not the one that I was expecting here. We do see Ukko going in with his Overlord, and he is poised to scout this. Okay, so we're going to be delaying our tech a little bit. There we go, Twilight Council is thrown down here at the natural, not in the main, to try and avoid that Overlord. Here we go, the Adept is looking to slip into the main base. Is met by the Queen, is met by a handful of Lings. Oh, doesn't get a drone kill there. Doesn't get that drone. Ukko slips into the main, sees the 2nd gateway, and he should be able to piece together that it is a Twilight Council opening. There's Twilight Council on the way. We do have Glaives as well. A bit of a roundabout way of getting here. It is a little bit later because we did prioritize that 2nd gateway instead, but we have found ourselves here nonetheless, and I wonder how many gates are we going to be seeing. So far we only have 2. There's our 3rd, and there is our 4th gateway, so this is going to be very committed here from Creature. He throws down a 5th and a 6th. It's going to be a 2-base all-in. Oh boy, very committed here. Creature is done with the mid game. He's done with the late game. He doesn't want a longer game here. He wants to end things before they can get out of hand. The Adept count is going to get higher and higher. Ukko hasn't been able to piece this together yet. He knows it's a Twilight Council opener at least. Ooh, he sees the Adept count. Creature, he wasn't far back enough. Smurge, Papi. The Adepts were a little bit too close to that wall. They have been spotted, and now Ukko knows about the Adept opener. Now, the Glaive opener, sorry. But he doesn't know how many gateways. Oh my god, there's a Dark Shrine as well? Creature is doubling down here. The Dark Shrine is on the way. Just pulling it all out here in game 4. Glaive Adepts into DTs. Ukko is throwing down a safety spore because he doesn't fully know if there is going to be a Dark Shrine behind this. Lings do confirm the Adept count. And Ukko cuts drones pretty early. 36. Oh, that's a pretty low drone count, to be honest. Because of the low drone count, he's going to have a lot of Lings to work with. We'll see if he's going to have enough resources, enough of an economy to really sustain Roach production. Here we go. The Adepts are going to be threatening a shade in towards the main base. Lings can't quite commit yet. The Adept count is just a little bit too high. But the Adepts are being forced back, but this doesn't matter too much. We're waiting for another warp in. And with this high amount of Adepts, we can focus down Queens. We can start fighting with the Queens. We can fight with the Roaches as well. And we're going to have DTs as a follow-up. We do have a Spore here at the natural, but the third is a bit exposed. Another Spore is on the way, though. Ukko, risky move. He's going for a run, but at the same time, the Adepts do commit to a Shade. Roaches are lagging behind a little bit. A lot of these Lings are going down, but no drone damage yet. Oh, there we go. A couple of drones are getting picked off. Meanwhile, we shade into the natural base. Nice reaction from Ukko. He does pull away in time. Oh, 4 drones are going down, though. This is a lot of damage, especially because Ukko did cut workers early. 10 drones going down. We have DTs in the main base. Creature is pulling Ukko apart. This is too much damage. There was no Spore in the main. 17 drones going down, and even though Ukko was preparing himself, he wasn't ready for the DTs in the main base. Things are just going from bad to worse here for Ukko. He's going to be forced all in. But he can't really go all in. He doesn't have a lair. He just lost his main base. He doesn't have roach speed. Counterattacking is almost impossible. And Creature has dealt more than enough damage from here. He can expand. He can throw down the third. He has dealt more than enough damage. And Ukko is crippled. The road to recovery is going to be long and difficult here for Ukko. Almost impossible. He's down 20 workers, no lair, 2 bases. He has a couple of roaches here, but Immortal production has commenced. We have an Immortal and an Archon zooming across the map, and Creature is looking to bring this all the way to the ace match. All the way to game 5. Let's go, Pop. We have the drop coming into the main base, just confirming that the third is attempted to be retaken. Forces a reaction. The Adepts are coming on in as well, and there's barely any drones to begin with. We can't afford to lose anymore. Oh. Let's go, Papi. As Ukko, he's just going to try and drone as best he can. From here, I wouldn't be surprised if he goes into an all-in. I don't know. I don't know if that would even work. It's just so difficult to come back after so many losses. There we go. We have the Bay on the way, so Creature is going to have access to Disruptors. And Disruptors will really shut down any kind of roach-based push. I'm just really curious. I'm really curious to see how Ukko approaches this. You know, Ukko, he does a lot of theory crafting. He's a very smart player. I wonder how he's going, if he's going to just try to macro and take a fourth and just drone and be defensive, which I guess is a way of doing things. Or if he's going to cut drones here at like 66 and go for a roach all in. I feel like we want to go for an all in, but we'll see, we'll see. As Creature is going to be expanding, taking his 4th base faster than that of the Zerg player. Just goes to show how far ahead Creature is. And I do feel like maybe the only way for Creature to lose this is if he pushes out prematurely. Like, if he moves out now, or like if he moves into Ukko, especially if Ukko is cutting drones at 66, which it looks like he is, I do think that that may be the mistake here of Creature. But because of how Creature usually plays, like, I do think that he's going to be waiting for Ukko to push into him. I think would be a wise choice. As the drop harass is clearing up some creep here, just distracting Ukko a little bit. We do see Ukko is droning, by the way. He's droning past 66. He's going to be looking to saturate this 4th base. We have an infestation pit on the way. We have a Hydra Den as well. Looks like Ukko is going to try and macro out of this. All right. It's going to be moving out a little bit, but I think this is just to try and deal with the Prism in the end. Disruptor production has commenced. Ukko rushing into lurkers. If Creature gives Ukko enough time, it is possible here that Ukko can get a powerful enough army, especially with these fast lurkers, to be able to deflect a push. It's still going to be difficult though, especially with disruptors. Disruptors always complicate things, and they can make up for even supply deficits. Bearing in mind, especially when it comes to the supply right now, the numbers can be deceptive. You know, I know how we like to say the soup doesn't lie, but sometimes the soup does lie, especially when it comes to roaches. Like, this is inflated supply from Ukko, as roaches are pretty supply inefficient. Right now he's just focusing on maxing out cutting drones here at 76. Lurkers on the way, Hive on the way as well. Yeah, just gonna try and take this slow and steady. We do see a bit of a roach run by. This is something that Ukko has to do here. He needs to get rid of these roaches, but he can't throw away too many at once. He has to slowly trade out roaches, trade in hydras, trade in lurkers. Oh, but here we go. Creature is moving out. At the same time, forces a recall. Robo is going to go down. This is a pretty important move. Creature 100% could have just A-moved across the map. Oh, the Disruptor goes down in the middle of the map as well. Ukko is buying time here. He forces Creature to turn around. And it's crucial that Ukko does this. A couple more lurkers are being morphed in. Supplies are evening up. Well, we'll see if Ukko can get into position in time here, as Creature's going to try and force himself up this ramp into lurkers. Here we go. Novas are going to be going off. They do miss. Not quite in range of those lurkers, but this is still a very terrifying Protoss army. At the same time, we have the freedom here. Ukko goes for a roach run by. He's going to be able to once again force a reaction here. Reacher, he already recalled. He turns around. He turns around with everything he has. He knows he can't push up this ramp. And Ukko, he is coming back in this game. Creature, he knows he can't turn around. He has to keep on pushing. He has to assert himself here. But can he? The lurkers are keeping up with the army rotations. Novas are going to be going off, but once again they miss. Meanwhile, the Roach army is in the main base of Creature. This is kind of forcing Creature's hand. We do have defensive DTs. They will eventually clean this up, but so much is being depowered. Oh, these lurkers were left exposed though. The Novas are going to be going off. Oh, and they will connect with the lurkers. Oh, he goes for the roaches. I don't know if that was the best move from Creature. He definitely could have dealt a lot of damage. Could have picked off a decent chunk of those lurkers. But he second guesses himself towards the end. He does take down a hatchery, but Ukko doesn't care. He's rotating on over. The Hive upgrades are on the way. Sizing Spines is on the horizon. This is getting harder and harder for Creature to really pull off. Here we go, more Novas. Here we go, more Novas are going up, but he only gets one lurker. Wow, Ukko is defending right now. These disruptors, the Purification Novas have not been what they needed to be. We needed to get more damage here. The main Nexus has gone down. We have another Roach run by. Ay. Creature had so much potential with his army. He had so many disruptors, but we never really saw any good detonations. And now lurker range is done. Now, if you thought it was hard to connect disruptor shots on lurkers earlier, now it's going to be even harder. The lurker count is getting out of control. Oh my god. Ukko. Mate, how does he do it? How does he do it, Papi? Adaptive Talents is on the horizon as well. We have Adrenal Glands. Ukko doesn't have the strongest economy. You know, he's only just now trying to reestablish his 5th base. But it is good enough, and here we go. We have a lurker run by towards the north. We have another run by towards the south. Can Creature keep up with the multi-prong harass? I don't think he can. Oh, so lurker's going to be able to take down every single one of these gateways. Overcharge is going to be able to buy some time. Creature is getting in position, but that is going to expose his southern base. Ukko now has the momentum. Oh, and this this Nexus is going to be going down. Ay. Creature had done so well for himself earlier, but alas, he's just lost so much of his supply, so much of his economy as well. We do see Ukko maybe overextending here. He's going to be losing quite a decent chunk of lurkers. So not the most efficient trade over here towards the end, but he did take down a base. He took down 15 probes, and he's coming back in again to try to punish this fourth. Novas are going to be going off, and this time, once again, they only get one lurker. Quick moves from Ukko, especially with Adaptive Talons. He can unburrow insanely quickly. And the fourth base goes down. Creature knocked down to 2 bases. Really only... Sorry, 3 bases. Really only 2. Oh. Who needs Vipers against Disruptors, apparently? Who needs them? Who needs them? Here we go. Oh, the Novas that we're finally looking for. We'll be connecting with these lurkers, but it's too little too late. Ukko's economy is just too strong. Wow. And Creature just hasn't really been able to make use of this army whatsoever. Just pulled apart left and right. Ukko never giving him what he wants. He wanted the lunkers, Papi. A massive link counterattack here. Gonna get so many of these probes. 7 probes going down. Here we go. Potentially the final fight of the game. We do see Creature trying to engage here, but he's having a really hard time finding a great angle or a good angle. Two more lurkers going down here. But again, Ukko doesn't care. He's just containing Creature to 1 base economy. That's all he wants, mate. I would like some Vipers, to be honest. Vipers would Vipers would be nice, but Ukko, he's having some fun. He's just making mass lurker at this point. Jesus. And as Creature moves out, he's once again out of position. The Ling Rambai is able to catch this last mining base. The bastion of hope here for Creature. 18 probes go down. At the same time, Ukko is going for a counterattack on the left-hand side. Ugh. Nova's not quite finding the connections they need. Oh, the Immortals. Oh. And yeah, Ukko, he was at death's door. he was straight up. He was down 30 probes. 20 probes even. 20 to 30 probes. But alas, he's been able to bring it all back here. The lurkers are what he needed. The entire Protoss army evaporates to the spines of the lurkers. And GG gets called. Ukko will be qualifying for ESL Masters Summer 2023, America's Closed Qualifier. Oh. GG, well played. Congratulations. Creature had such a great start with his opener, with his Glaive Adepts into DTs. He killed the main. He killed so many drones. Oh, look at the army graph, Papi. Creature had so much to work with. But Ukko was likewise so resilient as well. Oh, I'll switch scenes over. Was so resilient in his play. He was able to hold on. He was able to defend long enough. He teched up very quickly into those lurkers, into that high, very defensive play. He was able to survive long enough. Even bought some time with those Roach Rumbais. Yeah, he brought it back, mate. He brought it all the way back. GG, well played. Congratulations to Ukko. And, yeah, he qualifies. My condolences to Creature. I do think that he deserves to be in the closed qualifier, and we will be seeing him tomorrow in Open Qualifier number 2, but alas, he isn't able to make it here in game 1. In day 1. And, yeah. Great play from both players. Very diverse play as well. Creature mixing things up as well. Even cheesing towards the end at the end of that series. GG. And hopefully we get to see more of Creature in the coming days in Open Qualifier number 2. He's definitely a player to look out for. Definitely one to try and qualify for the next round, for the next stage. But before that happens, we still have some more NA StarCraft to cover. Oh my god. And let's have a look at that bracket. I mentioned it earlier. Eric 2-0'd Smile, Ryu 2-0'd Masa. There is a Battle of the Ducks here in another qualifying match. Eric versus Ryu is mid-series, and it's being casted by Cosmos and by Horace. I would love to get into that if possible, so that may be the next qualifying match that we slip into. Scrolling down even further though, we just casted this. Ukko does make it to the next stage, to the next round of this qualifier. So congratulations to Ukko. Rocker is currently mid-series against Foxer. Wow, oh my god. Foxer 2-0'd BioIce? I was not expecting that. BioIce, of course, another very old school player, a very strong Zerg from Canada. But Foxer is able to overcome him, so we've got quite a match, quite an America-on-America match there in that lower qualifying match. Scrolling down even further. Oh my god! I was not expecting this result. Master, the best Protoss in Latin America. He took down Cuddle Bear. Kind of to be expected. But M. Canning, the Can Man himself, takes down Master 3-0. Wow, what a result. Congratulations to M. Canning. I was not expecting that at all. I was expecting Master to be the favorite. But in a PvP, anything is possible, and yeah, very well done. Massive shout out to M. Canning to be able to bring down Master in such a fashion as well. GG. GG, well played. So we already have 2 players qualifying. We have 2 qualifying matches left. Again, I am going to be looking to slip into Eric versus Ryu if possible. Let's have a look here. Let me just open up one of the... let's open up the Spanish stream and see what's going on over there. Where are they in this series? Do I want to know? Do I want to know? Oh boy, they're in game number 4. Eric is up 2-1. Eric is the favorite. He is a bit of a stronger player overall against Ryu, but it's a mirror matchup and anything can happen. And it's pretty early in game 4. Eric versus Ryu. Oh boy, so I think I'm gonna wait. I think I'm gonna stick around. I'm gonna wait here to see what happens between Eric versus Ryu. And if nothing happens, or if they finish up, then maybe I can get into Rocker versus Foxer. So we'll try and bring you a little bit more StarCraft. We'll try it. Oh my god, Eric's going for a Nidus. Oh god, he's so chaotic in ZvZ, papi. Ay. But yeah, if you want to tune into Eric versus Ryu, that's being casted by the Spanish and the Portuguese stream, or the Brazilian stream. All of Latin America's, it's all over that. Oh, yeah. Oh, I'm just catching up in the chat. It's wholesome and moist, like my grandma's apple pie. Este babylings. But yeah, as the Unholy Ghost is saying, the first push before the lurkers were out when he turned back from the Rotron bite. Exactly. If Creature hadn't turned around to the Rotron bite, I do think that he would have been able to deal so much more damage and even kill Ukko at that moment. It was so important for Ukko to go for the run by at that time and force that reaction out of his opponent. Oh! Eric and Ryu, they're out of game. Eric versus Ryu has concluded. Eric did take down Ryu 3-1. Oh. GG, Poppy. GG. Eric has qualified. He's the 3rd player to qualify for the event. I would have loved to have casted him, but you know, we ended up in a different series, and Congratulations to Eric. My heart goes out to Ryu. Ryu, I'm sure, will be back tomorrow and will be looking to qualify once again, as he is one of the best Zerg players in Latin America. So I wish the best of luck to Ryu. I hope to cast him tomorrow. I will do my best to follow him. I will do my best. But congratulations to Eric, as he is currently the best player on the CranKy Ducklings. Eric, he's been doing really well recently. He did recently beat Dark in a ZvZ 2-1. So Eric's ZvZ specifically is on fire. It is world class, world class. Oh boy. And with that means that there is only one match left, and that is Foxer versus Rocker. Is that being casted by anyone? Let's have a look here. It looks like Zombie Grub. So there are a couple of other English streams. Renegade X Studios was casting Ryu versus Eric, and Zombie Grub is currently casting Foxer versus Rocker. They're in game 3, and it looks like Rocker is up 2-0. He's looking to 3-0. Damn. It's too early right now to really call that Rocker will 3-0, but he is looking poised to do so. So yeah. Because of that, and again, I really did just want to try and get into that ZvZ, into the Duckling series. Despite that, though, I guess we will be calling it for now. I say for now. We're going to be back in a couple of hours. KSL, Korean StarCraft League, has been moved to Saturdays, and KSL is in 1 hour and 27 minutes. So if you want some more StarCraft action, we're going to be live. This channel will be live once again in 1 hour and 30 minutes. So yeah, I hope to see you again. I hope you enjoyed yourself with this NA StarCraft, and if you want some Korean StarCraft, we have got you covered shortly. Otherwise, if you're maybe going to go to bed, if it's getting late, especially in Europe, I know it's pretty late in Europe, it's around midnight or 1 a.m. Day number 2 of the Open Qualifiers for ESL Masters Americas is tomorrow, in less than 24 hours. So if you want some more NA StarCraft, if you want to see if Creature qualifies, or Ryu, or Cats, or Smile, or Tavo, or Master, or any of these other players, be here tomorrow. Be here tomorrow for the conclusion of the Open Qualifiers. Of course, we're going to be here casting it live and bringing you as much StarCraft as we can. Oh boy, as we have quite a marathon of casting ahead of us. So yeah, we just finished casting this qualifier. KSL is in an hour, and in how many hours? In 9 hours, which will be like a couple of hours after KSL, we're also going to be live at casting the Open Qualifier number 2 for the Asia region. So today we have 3 casts, 3 broadcasts here on the CranKy Ducklings. If you want some StarCraft action, and if you enjoyed my casting, and if you maybe want to tune into some more casting later on, then consider following us here on Twitch, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Discord. We're all over the place. We have social media all over the place as well, where you'll be notified when we go live. So consider following us. You can also support us on Patreon. Our Patreon is set up to fund our tournaments. We currently host 3 bi-weekly tournaments for some of the smaller regions of StarCraft: the Americas, Latin America, Southeast Asia, Oceania, and China. So if you're interested in supporting some of the smaller regions, _Patreon in the chat, you can support it there as well. Right now we're trying to raise enough money to fund the event itself. Right now we're covering the costs, and maybe even make it a regular weekly tournament, and hopefully grow it even further into paying out the top 4 and paying out the top 8. Of course, the KSL is doing a great job at supporting the Korean scene, but that doesn't mean that the other scenes are doing well. Some of these smaller regions, after being merged with America or merged with China and Taiwan, Hong Kong, some of these other smaller regions are struggling. So we're doing our best to host our own weekly tournaments for those regions. So if you're interested, check out the Patreon. We're doing our part. We are doing our part. We're doing the best that we can. So yeah. With that, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for tuning in. We'll be back in an hour. Until then, we're going to be giving Vindicta a bit of a raid. Vindicta is of course, an ex-CranKy Duckling, currently playing for Platinum Heroes, and he's doing a 24-hour stream, so give him some love, give him some support. He's a great guy and a great Terran player. He is invited into the next round of the American qualifiers. He's in the main event for ESL Masters Americas, so he doesn't have to play in any of these qualifiers. He's just that good. He's there with like Scarlet, Estrella, Trigger, Disc, you know, the top players of America and Canada that you would expect to be seeing. Cham, Special, Kellizer, of the like. So yeah, with that, thank you so much everyone for watching. Thank you so much for the support. Stick around for KSL, I guess, or, you know, get some rest, get some food, get some water. Be back here in an hour for some more StarCraft. Until then, we'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching. Ciao. Ciao.